Everyone knows that losing fat is mainly about getting your diet right, but if it was that easy, no one would be fat. Not so long ago, I was 248 pounds and I desperately wanted to lose fat, but it seemed like no matter what I tried or what diet I ate, I just couldn't lose a single pound. Until I stopped following the BS diet advice out there online and I started to eat foods that killed my cravings, kept me full, and made fat loss easy. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 10 foods that allow me to lose 70 pounds of fat and go from 30% body fat to 12% body fat so that you can do the same. But before I get into the list, let me tell you what makes a good fat loss food, because it isn't about eating clean foods or magical superfoods or any of that bullshit. When I put this list together, I look for foods that fit into one or multiple of the following 4 categories. Firstly, how filling is the food? Because one of the biggest reasons people quit their diet is because they feel like they're starving all the time. High volume foods that give you a lot of bang for your buck are so important because it feels like you've eaten a lot of food for a low calorie cost, which makes fat loss sustainable. The second category is, does that food fit into the golden protein to calorie ratio? You're most likely sat there now asking, well, what is the golden ratio? And it's 10 calories for 1 gram of protein. So if you have a food that contains 200 calories, you want 20 grams of protein from it. The reason for this is that protein keeps you full and protects your muscle mass, meaning if you want to lose fat and not muscle, is very important. The third category is versatility, because if you don't enjoy what you're eating, are you really going to stick to that diet? Most likely not. So you want to find foods that can be turned into countless different recipes. And finally, the absolute best foods are the ones that you can make into fake versions of your favorite high calorie foods. One of the biggest reasons people are so fat is because they're addicted to foods like pizza, ice cream, and crisps. So if a low calorie alternative can be made to taste like that food in different recipes, that is gold. So in the list of 10 foods I'm about to share with you, some of the foods will hit one category, some will hit multiple, and a couple will hit all of them. By the way, real quick, if you want to get your hands on some of my own macro-friendly recipes, a workout plan, and much more, click the second link in the description and you can get my free fat loss Kickstarter blueprint, again for free, so go and get that now. With that being said, the first food on the list is salted popcorn, and this genuinely changed my life. For as long as I can remember, I have loved crisps and salty snacks. I used to go through multiple sharing bags every single evening at one point when I was really fat. And when I first decided to lose fat, I decided I was going to work out how many calories of crisps I was actually eating in a week. And I worked it out to be around 4,000 calories, and that's absolutely ridiculous to say out loud right now. So here's why salted popcorn changed my life. It gives you that same salty hit you get from crisps, but for literally a third of the calories. So by switching over from crisps to salted popcorn, I removed over 2,000 calories from my weekly bottom line. That alone would equal half a pound of fat loss per week. Now, an important thing to mention is I'm not talking about the cinema style of salted popcorn. I'm talking about the stuff you put in the microwave. And the brand that I personally use is Popcorn. And not only does it kill those salty snack cravings, but it also keeps you full because it's very high volume. So it's great for when you have those crazy cravings late at night. Trust me, if you're the kind of person that loves salty snacks too, switch to salted popcorn and it will make a massive difference. The next one is the holy grail of fat loss foods, and it's low-fat Greek yogurt. It's ridiculously high in protein, very filling, and can be made into anything from breakfast bowls to sauces to desserts, which means it hits all 4 categories of a good fat loss food. You know, one of the hardest parts about losing fat is making sure you hit that protein target every single day while still staying in a calorie deficit. But low-fat Greek yogurt makes it easy. Personally, I get the one from Aldi called Brooklyn. It has 324 calories for 55 grams of protein. That's a 6-to-1 calorie to protein ratio, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I still eat it every single day and I have countless recipes that I use it in. Right now, my absolute favorite that I've showed before is this high protein, low calorie tiramisu. There were so many times early on in my fat loss journey where I would get to 7 p.m. and I would realize I'm like 50 grams short on protein. So I would just take one of those out of the fridge, put some honey and some berries on it, and bang, that's my protein target done. Genuinely, if I was you, I would be stocking my fridge full of this stuff. Now, when you hear the word lean protein sources, the first thing that comes to mind is chicken breast. And whilst chicken breast is great, sometimes you need to mix it up. And that's where 5% lean ground beef comes in. This stuff is insanely high in protein. 100 grams is around 130 calories and 22 grams of protein, which again is a 6-to-1 calorie to protein ratio. Not only that though, but it's insanely versatile. You can turn it into wraps, burgers, chili, spaghetti bolognese, basically all the foods you love, but for way less calories and way more protein. Personally, I love burgers, and I mean I love burgers, but my Five Guys order contains 1,400 calories. But that's where my own recipe comes in. You see that burger there? 524 calories for a whopping 57 grams of protein. Why on earth would you eat plain chicken, rice and broccoli when you can eat that every day and lose fat? Believe me, if you want to lose fat consistently and keep it off for the rest of your life, you have to find recipes that you love. And there are so many you can make out of 5% lean ground beef. Number 4 on the list is coffee. And before you say to me, Aiden, but coffee's not a food, I'm very much aware of that. But trust me, coffee is one of the best weapons you can have in your arsenal to kill your cravings when you're trying to lose fat. When you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to get hungry from time to time. That's just a fact you cannot avoid. You are literally eating less calories than your body is burning each day, so hunger is expected. You are also going to feel tired sometimes, and while coffee contains caffeine, which acts as an appetite suppressant, and it also gives you energy. I'm not talking about those ridiculous coffees like frappuccinos which contain 500 or 600 calories and let's face it, are basically milkshakes. I'm talking about normal coffees, cortados, cappuccinos, black coffee and espressos. Personally, I have 2 coffees a day. One at 7 a.m. around an hour after I wake up and another one at midday. That keeps me full and it also gives me a nice pick-me-up. But although coffee is an amazing tool, you have to be careful you don't abuse caffeine. And what I would say to you is make sure you cut off caffeine use 8 hours before you go to bed. Because if you don't, it's going to drastically affect your sleep. And as you know, sleep is the most important thing. So use coffee as the tool that it is, but do not rely on it. Now, if I had to pick one food that helped me stay consistent the most out of any food, it would be wraps. Seriously, these saved me. They tick multiple boxes. They are versatile, filling, and they let you make low-calorie versions of the food you love. You can literally make thousands of recipes with them, and somehow anything that you put in a wrap instantly tastes better. Personally, I use these protein wraps from Aldi. They contain 10 grams of protein per wrap, so it's a nice little boost. And let me tell you this, if you don't have an air fryer already, go and fucking buy one, because trust me, the wraps that you can make in an air fryer are just out of this world. Take a look at that. That's my spicy barbecue chicken pizza wrap, which is around 338 calories and 37 grams of protein. It's recipes like that that are going to keep you sane whilst you're in a fat loss stage. Do not be lazy. It takes 10 to 15 minutes to make a wrap in the air fryer, and honestly, they're going to change your life. All right, now on to food number 6, which is something that's extremely underutilized, and it's potatoes. Most people avoid carbs nowadays because they're demonized, but if you're serious about losing fat, I'm telling you, you need to start eating potatoes, and here's why. They're one of the most filling foods you can eat for the amount of calories they contain. They will keep you full for hours, which helps you stay in your deficit, but better than that, they can be made into everything you can imagine. They are so damn versatile. You can make chips, roast potatoes, boiled potatoes, mash, wedges, and so much more. The options are literally endless, and when you're dieting, options are so important. 200 grams of potatoes contains around 150 calories, so you can eat a shit ton without blowing your deficit. Listen, carbs are not the enemy. Eating too many calories are the enemy. And it is so hard to eat too many calories when it comes to potatoes because they are so high volume, so get them into your diet. Next on the list is sauces, and yes, again, I know sauces aren't technically a food, but just hear me out. Do you want to be eating flavorless food? No, right? Well, that's where sauces come into play, and you are never going to be able to stick to a diet that you find boring and don't enjoy. Most guys think sauces are bad because they add empty calories to their food. And whilst yes, I agree, if you're pouring full fat mayo or salad dressing all over your food, there are so many low calorie options out there. Personally, I love hot sauce. I use sriracha quite a lot, but I put Frank's Red Hot on basically everything, and it contains more or less 0 calories and makes any food taste amazing. But there's also low fat mayo based sauces, low sugar ketchup, and low sugar barbecue sauce, and a bunch of other options out there. One of the biggest reasons I used to cheat on my diet so much was because I was so sick of just plain chicken, rice and broccoli. But if you throw some teriyaki sauce on there, even 60 calories of it, suddenly it tastes way better. And having 60 calories of sauce is a far better option than eating food you don't enjoy and then blowing your diet with 500 calories of snacks later that evening. Look, if your meals taste good, you're going to stick to your diet. And that's the role sauces play. They aren't supposed to have perfect macros or protein to calorie ratios. They are an added extra into your diet to make it more sustainable, more flexible, and more enjoyable so you can actually stick to it for the long term and get in the shape you want to. Now on to number 8, and this is something that gets a lot of shit, but it's a classic for a reason, and it's chicken breast. It ticks literally every single box of what makes a good fat loss food. It's stupidly high in protein, low in calories, extremely filling, and can be used in endless recipes so it never gets old. 100 grams of chicken breast contains 165 calories and 31 grams of protein. That's a 5-to-1 calorie to protein ratio. That's the best of any whole food you can ever get your hands on. For me, chicken breast is an absolute staple of my diet, and I eat it more or less every day in one form or another. Firstly, it's cheap. Secondly, you can get it in every supermarket, in every country all over the world. You can turn it into air-fried chicken bites, stir fries, sandwiches, fried rice, wraps, literally anything. So as much as people like to criticize it, chicken breast is arguably the best fat loss food ever. You just need to utilize it in the correct ways. Number 9 is another food that gets a lot of bad rap by morons online nowadays, and it's oats. Here's why they are so good. Firstly, they are very filling for the amount of calories they contain. Secondly, they are a slow digesting carb that gives you stable energy throughout the day, so you're not going to feel hungry 2 hours after having breakfast. And thirdly, they mix very well with protein powder, and when you pair those together, you're getting a big hit of good carbs and protein at the same time. Personally, I eat a bowl of oats 4 times a week on my training days because they give me those slow release carbs that I need for optimal energy in the gym so I can really push myself, and they fill up your glycogen stores, which gives me a better pump. You can eat them in a bunch of different ways. You've got overnight oats, baked oats, protein oats, and you can even use oat flour to make a good macro-friendly alternative to pancakes, and that versatility is amazing when you're trying to lose fat. And real quick, I just want to emphasize something. Do not listen to the absolute prats online that tell you that carbs are evil, carbs are the devil, and that carbs are what are keeping you fat. There's a reason that 99% of the world's best athletes eat carbs every single day. Carbs do not make you fat. Carbs aren't killing you. You just have to utilize them in the right ways and make sure you aren't consuming too many of them. Number 10 on the list is another classic, and it's eggs and egg whites. You need to utilize both whole eggs, which give you healthy fats and nutrients like vitamin A and choline, as well as protein, and egg whites are basically just pure protein for very few calories. For example, 2 whole eggs mixed with 200 milliliters of egg whites is around 250 calories and 25 grams of protein. They can also be used in many different ways: fried, scrambled, omelets, put in wraps, on salads, and even made into pancakes. I eat eggs in one form or another more or less every single day. In fact, just before I recorded this video, I had a wrap with 3 eggs, some cream cheese, and some French bread hot, and it's pretty damn good. And I would advise every single person watching this video to eat eggs every single day. They have healthy fats, which are going to give you optimal hormone levels, and they're also going to give you a great hit of highly bioavailable protein, which is going to help you build muscle. So it's a win-win. And I'm telling you right now, if you start utilizing every single food on this list, then fat loss is practically guaranteed. And if you want my help making a similar transformation to me and a similar transformation to my clients, click the first link in the description of this video and book a call, and we'll have a chat and see if you're the right fit for coaching. Other than that, I hope this video helped, and I'll see you in the next one.